Spokesperson for the second respondent in the 2020 presidential election petition hearing, Kojo Ponkoma, has said lawyers for the President and Electoral Commission chair do not have interest in showing their English prowess, but argue out their case out according to the law. According to Mr. Ponkoma, unlike the lawyer for the petitioner, who spent hours arguing his case out, the lead counsels for President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Jean Mensah go straight to the point backing their arguments with law. The Information Minister designate was answering to a question posed to him by the media as to what accounts for the long arguments the counsel for the petitioner usually presents compared to the crypt submissions by counsels for the respondents. Meanwhile, an application by lawyers for former President John Dramani Mahama to inspect documents for the first respondent has been dismissed by the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice Eleni Abua, who read the ruling on behalf of the justices, said the proceedings so far shows that the petitioner has copies of the documents which are subject of the application.
Notice that counsel for the petitioner sometimes has about an hour. In fact, today you noticed from about 9:30 something to about 10:30 thereabout on his feet making arguments. And counsels for first respondent and second respondent are very crisp in their responses. It is because this is a court of law, not a court of public opinion. When you make an application before the court, you must satisfy what the law requires and back it with authorities that are relevant or the legal invocations that are relevant. For example, if you recall the application for leave for supplementary, counsel for the petitioner was on his feet for several minutes. But if you listen to the ruling of the court, it says that even the authority that you cited, Ellis Tamaklu, has nothing to do with supplementary applications of this nature. And the expectation that you will give us good law to back your application did not happen. So we are not invoked. Counsels on our side, you would notice, are limiting themselves to the law and the legal requirements, are not necessarily arguing with the bench, and are speaking to matters of law. So what does the law say? That is what we are interested in.
Also, another application to produce an additional witness for the petitioner, however, is pending following an admission by petitioner's lawyer that the potential witness is indisposed with health complications. Lead lawyers for the parties involved retired to the chambers to deliberate since their illness could not be publicly disclosed. However, after a 20 minutes in-camera discussion, the Chief Justice Kwesi Eninyohua adjourned the hearing to Friday, February 5, 2021, without speaking on what was dialogued behind closed doors.
The Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Alban Bagbin, has warned members of Parliament MPs who have tested positive for COVID-19 to stay away from the House or be named publicly. According to the Speaker, some MPs who have tested positive for the COVID-19 disease were still showing up in the parliamentary chamber. Speaker Bagbin gave the warning through First Deputy Speaker Joseph Osei-Wusu, who was chairing proceedings in the House on Wednesday in Accra. Since last week, a team from the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research has been on the precinct of Parliament, screening MPs and staff to ascertain their COVID-19 status, and Speaker last Friday reminded members and staff to make themselves available for the test. As he issued the warning to those who have tested positive, Speaker Bagbin also called on the speakers to take the safety protocols seriously. He further announced that about 50 MPs and staff of Parliament had not submitted themselves for testing and asked them to do so immediately. Mr. Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, Minority Chief Whip, in his contribution, urged Medical Director of Parliament to inform both the majority and minority whips of members who had tested positive. He also suggested that each NP should be given his or her COVID-19 test results and not to be told on the telephone. Mr. Osei Mensah Bonsu, Majority's leader, stated that as of last week, there were about 60 MPs who had still not submitted themselves for testing, and that was what occasioned the medical team to be brought back. He explained that only 8 out of the remaining 60 MPs have so far submitted themselves for testing, and that the outstanding 52 MPs still remained a danger to the House. He said even though some MPs had undertaken their own private COVID-19 test, that would still not exonerate the remaining 52 MPs, and thus pleaded with them